Welcome back to another episode of Business Highlight, a show by the Boca Raton Tribune. My name is Pedro, and before we get started, make sure to follow us on all our social accounts, also our YouTube channel. It's bocatribune.tv. That way you can subscribe to the channel and get notified when we have new episodes that come out. And also on social media, it's all Boca Tribune. Before we get started, I just want to introduce Marjorie Waldo. Marjorie, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me, Pedro. Really, it's very, very cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. And one of the things that we try to do in the show is show our readers other, nonprofits and organizations that help out in the community. And Arts Garage has been here for a while, and I think it's a great opportunity to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. We're very proud to be part of this community. It's a cool place to live and work.
Yeah, and so just to get started, introduce yourself to us. Tell us a little bit about yourself for those that might not know who you are.
So I am, prior to coming to Arts Garage in 2016, I was a career educator for a very long time, almost 30 years. I started when I was only 5, because I'm much younger than that would imply. So I was a high school English teacher, and then I became a principal, and I worked largely with high-risk students in South Florida for the bulk of my career. So I made a big career change in 2016 and came back to my roots. I was a theater major undergrad at UVA for college, and I came back to the arts, which I've loved since I was a very young girl. And I'm using my business skills from being a principal and tying those to my passions about the arts and community, and here we are.
Mm-hmm. And were you the one that opened up the Arts Garage, or can you tell us more about Arts Garage and how that came to be, and how did you, get connected with it?
So Arts Garage started in 2011. I was not on the original opening group of staff members. It was actually a CRA project with the city of Delray Beach, much like the Arts Warehouse is now. It was staffed by employees of the CRA. And after a short time, it was established as its own nonprofit and separated from the CRA. Although the CRA is one of our greatest stakeholders and supporters, we work very closely with them on projects, and they provide a very generous grant annually to us to help us continue what we do in the community. So we are overseen by a board of directors, a volunteer board of directors, and we have a very passionate and artistic group of staff who are incredibly engaged both in the arts of almost every kind and in our community, and really love being part of a team who's, I feel one of our main purposes is to make sure that we're serving Delray Beach and the surrounding communities. We want to make sure that we're reaching everyone in the community and not just tailoring what we do to specific demographics. We want to reach everyone. So we do that through, we're a cultural and visual arts center. So we have performing and visual arts. We have a small art gallery where we showcase emerging artists in the region. It's called the Marshall Family Foundation Gallery. One of our largest donors, the Marshall Family Foundation, has named the gallery through a generous donation. We also produce Grammy award-winning, internationally traveling, touring musicians and performers, and a lot of really high-quality regional performers as well. So we do some theater, a lot of volunteer efforts, good stuff.
Yeah. So guys, for those that might want to stop by and check out their gallery, head over to their location. It's right there on the screen right there, 94 Northeast 2nd Street in Delray. It's in the Pineapple Grove district, right?
That's right. It's right in the middle of a very vibrant district. We're close to almost every restaurant. You literally within walking distance, you can eat any kind of food under the sun. I think there's hotels and cool bars and just a really neat area to work and play in.
Yeah. So Marjorie, tell us, how long have you been the president and the CEO of the Arts Garage?
Since November of 2016.
Wow.
When I started, we were in trouble. We were struggling as an organization. We had some financial issues and reputation issues in the community, and we're not living up to our what we'd been tasked with doing by our stakeholders. So we were in a little bit of trouble, but within about an 18-month period, we were able to regain our footing in the community, balance the boat financially, if you will, thanks to a lot of hard work by our board and our staff and our stakeholders who gave us time to fix things. And now we're in really, really, really good shape, even at coming out of the pandemic, thanks to that effort.
Yeah, that's good. I think that kind of follows up to one of the questions that I had. You know, obviously the pandemic affected everybody, and it affected everybody differently. How did the pandemic affect the Arts Garage, and how have you guys been, able to move on from that and grow?
So Arts Garage, like the hotel industry, the restaurant industry, the live music industry, has just suffered tremendously. We probably saw a reduction in anticipated revenues of about $700,000 over the last bit of time. And our budget is not much over $1 million annually. So we lost a huge amount of ticket revenues. We saw a lot of generosity through government programs that rolled out throughout the 15 months, as well as from our donors who came out of the woodworks and made sure that we were supported and alive and well. So a lot of the reason we're still standing and in great shape is that we know how, as a nonprofit, to squeeze blood from a stone, right?
Yeah.
So you learn how to look for things under every rock. You know how to pay attention to government programming. You tie yourself to other agencies that can inform you of opportunities for funding. You monitor what's happening with government rollout of aid and make sure that your name is on that PPP list and that you're doing everything you need to do to receive those funds. So we worked super, super hard. We also slashed expenses. We cut our staff down to a handful of people at the beginning for many months. Maybe 5 or 6 of us doing everything. But at the same time, we did not stop programming. So we involved performers locally and regionally who were willing to work with us for no cost to produce free to our patrons and the community performances from the end of March, when we first closed, like March 15th. From the end of March, took us about 2 weeks to put it together. And we began live streaming shows from our stage that were free to the audience 3 times a week, with the generosity of performers and some really hard-hitting, incredible staff members who taught themselves how to do it. So we did that from the end of March through July. And then in August, we started monetizing those live streams, which then became hybrids once we had 50% capacity. And now we're at 100% capacity.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great. From that, what are some of the events that maybe the Arts Garage is putting on in June, July, in the summer months, and even afterwards that our listeners could be looking forward to?
There are a bunch of things. So in the summer months, we only book 2 main stage shows a weekend. The rest of the year, when it's season, we do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. During the summer, we only do Friday and Saturday. But upcoming, we have several I want to mention. On this weekend, Juneteenth, the 19th, I think it is actually Juneteenth, that we're having Pat Mother Blues Cohen, in collaboration with the Spady Cultural Heritage Museum, which is the only Black History museum in Palm Beach County and one of very few in Florida. We're hosting an incredible night of blues. That's a fundraiser for both of our organizations. Wow. We have another fundraiser in July with Sarge, who is a comedian who lives locally. He tours nationally and internationally. Sarge is Black and Jewish, and his comedy is based in his story, which is very diverse and very interesting. He's a huge hit at many of the synagogues locally. So he's doing a fundraiser for us on July 11th. We have the Motowners, Miami Big Sound, the Wildfire Band, which is a local favorite, Nicole Henry, And our series kicked off 2 months ago, Garage Queens. It's a reboot of Garage Queens, which is a quarterly now drag show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a drag queen show, and it's a blast. Really young and emerging, talented performers. If you're unfamiliar with the art of drag, it is an art. It is we had the ribbon cutting for the streetscape, the rainbow streetscape here in Delray, right in front of Grove, last weekend. And we had some of our drag queens that work with us on the Garage Queen series were performers during the ribbon cutting. And it was very early in the morning. So they had been up for several hours, making sure makeup and eyelashes and everything was exactly the way it should be so they could perform. So it's a really exciting, fun venue. We do a lot of different things for a lot of different segments of the community, and we really love bringing everybody together art is transformative. Art and music, theater, they're transformative. Yeah. They blur lines that would normally divide us. They take us outside of our own concerns and anxieties and worries and allow us to enjoy something in the moment. There's this magical connection in a live performance between the performer and the audience that just it makes you tingly. It's really a beautiful thing. So we're digging it. We like what we do here a lot.
For sure. Guys, then talking to Marjorie Waldo, the president and CEO of the Arts Garage. If you have more information on the Arts Garage, head over to their website. It's artsgarage.org. Marjorie, so you've been with them since 2016, you said, right?
Yep.
And this is a very tricky question. What has been one of your most memorable moments as the president and CEO of Arts Garage? And you can't say all of them.
Well, I think that I want to give it two sides of the coin, because I believe that nonprofits struggle. You are constantly trying to do as much as you can on an incredibly limited budget. When I started, one memorable thing was how hard it was to do the turnaround. I'd had business experience for a long time, leadership experience. It was still extremely difficult. It made me a stronger person, and I believe it's why we were successful in the pandemic, because we had already sort of sharpened our nails on the turnaround. So we were more able to pivot, which I hate the word, but to pivot during the pandemic, because we'd already seen a really intense struggle that was holding us back. So that's memorable to me from a career perspective.
Right.
From an Arts Garage specifically perspective, I want to say that the moments that matter to me the most are the ones where an audience member or a patron or a volunteer. We have a volunteer, Harry, who has openly, publicly said that we have been for years one of the reasons he was not in assisted living. We had a young girl who struggled with her family, who was part of our volunteering program, and felt like she joined an extended family that helped her and her single mom navigate some really tricky times in their lives. I've talked to emerging visual artists as they come out of the art reception we do for First Friday Art Walk, and hear how that's the first time they've had people ask them about their process or their artistic vision, and how excited they are to have that opportunity, or to hear what our performers say. I have the best job in the world. So, I mean, really, I could put names and faces to stories that make you cry, that make from joy, that you feel like you've made the world a little bit better for people. That gives me great joy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. For people that are listening that have heard of the Arts Garage, what are some of the I guess marquee or the big events that they maybe have heard of that the Arts Garage does?
So we have a lot of fan favorites that come here a couple of times, at least once a year, and sometimes a couple of times a year. So we have the diva singer. In fact, she does diva blessings for the audience when she's here. Anne Hampton Calloway, who's just an incredible jazz American songbook singer. Nicole Henry, also incredible. She's local. Anne is not. Tito Puente Jr., who's amazing and fun. there are tons of Nestor Torres, heavy hitters who come here all the time.
My
There
favorite.
are also, what'd you say?
I love Nestor Torres. He's my favorite.
Amazing. They're amazing. And they really enjoy performing here, and we really enjoy having them. They will sell out, and we have several of them coming. But we are also known for our parties, right? So we know how to throw a really good party. So we make sure that those parties are wrapped around fundraisers. So we have an annual gala. The last gala we had was February of 2020, right before the pandemic hit. It was called Soul Party, and it had a Florida-based performer, Cece Tennille, and Soul Commotion, her band, performing just this amazing soul party for us, where 194 people, sellout crowd, amazingly successful silent and live auction, plated dinner, dancing, taking their shoes off and dancing all night long. So we know how to throw down. We also know how to do a really lovely jazz performance where it's very, but we know how to throw down too and show people a good time.
That's awesome. So for people that are listening and want to help in any way they can, what are some suggestions that you have for them when it comes to helping?
So we love volunteers. They allow us to do so much more than we could otherwise because they work for free. They give up their time and their passion. We have people who, there are love stories that come out of our volunteers. There are lifelong friendships that come out of our volunteers. So if you have time and want to usher or participate in any way, you can volunteer. If you have some extra cash laying around, we are constantly accepting donations. Those are all tax deductible to the fullest extent of the law because we are a 501c3, not for profit. And you can just attend our shows and tell people about us. So, we've got a lot of things happening that we believe in being a community organization. We think that every business, every for-profit or not-for-profit has a responsibility to its community and to the world, right? To make it a better place. So we're defined by our four walls, which is one of the reasons that the pandemic was so tough for us. We didn't have an outdoor space for performances that would allow us to be a little more creative and generate some more ticket revenue a little earlier. So we were challenged by that. But we are going to work closely with the CRA and the Spady Museum, the DDA, and we're going to put together a blues festival in the Set, which is the historically Black neighborhood in Delray. And we're going to try to bring Arts Garage into the community this year. We're going to try to serve our community even more than we already try to. So I just think getting involved, having a conversation with me, give me a call. If you want to write a check, write a check. I can tell you 100 ways that you can support us. You can make a restricted donation where you only want me to spend the money on a specific thing, or you can make a general operational donation. Just represent us in the community and talk to people about us so that we continue growing.
Yeah, for sure. Marjorie, before I let you go, I asked this question for everyone, so you're not going to be any different. What's some advice that you'd give someone who is interested in nonprofit work as a career, or the entertainment world as a career? Like, what's some advice that you'd give that person?
So, for the nonprofit world, which is where my full career experience has fallen, you need to be passionate. You cannot fake it when you are in a not-for-profit because you will grind. The first couple of years and again during the pandemic, those were 80-hour weeks. They were not 40-hour weeks. You really need to be sure that you believe in your vision, that you are not just checking blocks, and that you wrap everything you do around that vision so that you can stay true to it. And then people trust you and the work that you're doing and will support you. So in terms of nonprofit work, and then to tie yourself to mentors and other organizations who have done the work for a while and can help you and support you and teach you and collaborate with you, which only makes you stronger. Collaboration only makes us stronger. I really believe that.
Yeah, that's awesome, Marjorie. Thank you so much for your time and giving us some more information at Arts Garage, guys. Again, if you guys want to head over to their website, it's artsgarage.org. Find out all the shows that they have coming up. Find out all the events that they have going on. If you guys want to give them a call to get tickets for an event, the number's right there on the screen as well. 561-450-6357. And if you're just traveling and walking around Delray Beach, because why wouldn't you be? You can head over to their location right there. The address is right there on the screen. It's right next to the Pineapple. It's in the Pineapple Grove district. Right next to all the delicious, yummy restaurants. And but Marjorie, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciated having you on.
Pedro, I'm really pleased to be here, and thank you for thinking of us and including me. I'm really grateful.
No problem. Thank you so much. All right, guys, going to wrap up another episode of Business Highlight. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this episode informative, make sure to share with your friends. Make sure to follow us on social media at Boca Tribune and head over to our YouTube channel, bocatribune.tv, and subscribe and get notified every time we have a new episode. But for now, thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next week.
Information. If it exists in writing, we print it. If it exists online, we update it. If it exists on mobile, we notify. If it exists in video, we show it. If it exists in audio, we play it. In the past, the news had to wait for a paper to print for it to happen. Today, news happens in real time. It's analyzed, edited, and published immediately by us, your neighbors, and of course, you. Wherever you are, you write, edit, give opinions, share photos, and make the news happen. This is why a paper needs to be on print, on screen, and on your phone. Wherever you are, your news has its pulse in the community. The Boca Raton Tribune. We are much more than just a newspaper. We are your closest neighbor.